Commitment 2024 now, and Donald Trump has accepted his party's nomination for the presidency of the United States. You saw the fanfare right here on Channel 5. You heard the former president speak at length for the first time since he was shot.
All 92 minutes of it. Our Sharman Sacchetti is live inside Fiserv Forum in Milwaukee. Sharm?
And we can tell you the former president is still on stage right now as the music continues to play, and those balloons have long dropped, but people are just sort of popping them around. We can tell you this speech went from compelling, where he recounted the story of how he was nearly killed, to almost what felt like a campaign rally. Now, the former president told the crowd he's not supposed to be here right now, and that the reason he only is here is because of the grace of God. Now, the former president had the helmet and firefighter's jacket that belonged to Corey Compertore, the man who was killed at his rally last weekend in Pennsylvania. He observed a moment of silence for him. He told the crowd he would recount the story of that attempted assassination only once.
I heard a loud whizzing sound and felt something hit me really, really hard on my right ear. I said to myself, wow, what was that? It can only be a bullet. There was blood pouring everywhere, and yet, in a certain way, I felt very safe because I had God on my side. I felt that.
Now, in a departure from his usual tone, Trump said divisions must heal, and they must heal quickly. But then he called on Democrats to drop partisan witch hunts. He referred to election cheating and claimed he's the one saving democracy.
I am running to be president for all of America, not half of America, because there is no victory in winning for half of America.
So we heard a lot about him sending a unified message. Well, that was really only part of the speech. The other part is a lot of what we've heard at his recent campaign rallies. He also pledged to close the border, to cut inflation, and also reverse what he believes is America's decline. It's worth mentioning this was a highly produced show that featured pro wrestling star Hulk Hogan and also Kid Rock. We're live here in Milwaukee. Sharman Sacchetti, WCVB News Center.
And Sharman, take us inside the arena, because you are spot on. When the former president was talking about what happened this weekend in Pennsylvania, you could hear a pin drop in that building. And then it turned in the opposite direction and went off on some tangent for an hour and a half. What was it like inside that building?
It was quiet. People were certainly captivated by his story, which he said, I'm not supposed to be here at this moment. And the crowd started chanting, yes, you are, yes, you are. After that, he started to sort of move into some of his more usual talking points, where he referred to illegal immigration as a, quote, invasion. And we heard some of that. He even referred to Hannibal Lecter at one point and talked about people coming into the country. So it was a little bit of that familiar refrain from the former president there. And people quietly listened, and some of them cheered, certainly. He has the full support of the people in this building. The question is whether or not he is able to get the support of those undecided voters.
That is the question. Sharman Sacchetti live for us, live in Milwaukee tonight. Thanks, Sean.